Hi everyone and welcome to our fourth lecture in Business Mathematics wherein we will focus on the profit and loss and we will also be tackling about the break-even analysis. So let's get started. So let's try to define first some of the terms. Of course, when we talk about cost, it is the cost of the product or cost of the product sold or the service rendered, no? Whether it is a product or services, there is a cost related to that, okay? So cost is more direct, no? While the expenses no refer to the operating expenses. It include administrative and selling expenses and financial expenses that includes the interest and finance charges whenever a business or company borrow money from a bank or other financial institution. Administrative tasks, it could be the support department like the offices, no, office supplies, the employee who do the admin tasks, no, that could be part of the expenses. And when we talk about the profit, of course, it is what remains of the selling price, no? Which is if we're going to compute the total uh, money, no, that was collected through selling the product, that is sales, after all costs and expenses had been deducted. So that's why in your accounting subject, no, you will encounter the what we call income statement or the statement of comprehensive income, wherein that is a detailed analysis or illustration on how profit is being deducted from the overall sales. And of course, there are some instances that loss no will occur wherein it occurs when the costs and expenses exceed the selling price or sales. So let's say example, Carmen does buy and sell. She bought a perfume for 450 and she sold it for 600 pesos. So how much was her margin? Of course, you just need to uh what do you call that? Minus no sales from the you have to do sales minus cost. And what was the rate of the her margin? You just need to calculate no the margin per unit no and calculate as margin divided by the sales. So later we're going to answer that. And of course, what was the markup based on cost? No? We already have that in our past lecture. And how much profit did she earn? So to answer that, no, as you can see, our margin is 150 pesos. And of course, that is 25%. Of course, we what we did is 150 divided by 600, which is the selling price. And then what was the markup based on cost? We identified that the markup based on cost is 33%, wherein the 150 margin no, or markup was divided uh, into the cost. And how much profit did she earn? That is 150 pesos. So just like the margin or markup. Income statement. So it is the financial statement that shows the results of operation if it earns a profit or incurs a loss for a given period of time. So that is another, just like what I said no a while ago, income statement is the financial type of financial statement that shows if a company or business occurs profit or loss. On the other hand, the cost of sales is the purchase price and other expenses incurred in buying the product that the business has to sell, including the freight in or the transportation of goods it buys for resale. Of course, class, now when you're going to create a product, you're going to, let's say, buy a product to resell, there is the what we call cost of sales, no? You just don't buy the product, no? But there are other expenses related to it. For example, the transportation or the freight in. So once you computed the cost of sales, it should add up, no? The transportation. Okay? And other, no, if let's say you're going to pay additional um, charges, no, when you're going to buy the products, you have to include that in the cost of sales. Another one is operating expenses. These are expenses incurred to run the business. Just like what I mentioned, no? There are some operating expenses that may occur. It could be the utilities like the water, electricity. It could be of course, the salary of the employees is part of the operating expenses. The rent, of course, that is if you're leasing a space, no, within a commercial area, that is part of your operating expenses. And other income, it includes interest income and other incidental income the firm earns, like rent income if it has a property being rented out. So other income is actually the type of income that is being um, experienced, no, by a company or business. Let's say in the supermarket industry, aside from the income they get from the merchandise they sell, they also have tenants on the spaces that they lease, no, for those tenants, and they also have income from those rent, no. So that is an example of other income. So, if we have other income, we also have other expenses, which includes the interest, no, expense, or the finance charges that the financial institution charge when the firms, of course, no, let's say borrow money from the bank or other financial institution. So that is considered other expenses. And of course, we have the gross profit, no? Oftentimes referred as the gross margin. So when you deduct the cost of sales from the total revenue or total sales, that is gross profit. On the other hand, we have the operating profit, which is gross profit less than the operating expenses. And also we have the net profit, which is the operating profit plus the other income, no, less other expenses. So as you can see, no, the net profit, no, is basically is where, no, already the expenses has been deducted, and this net profit is already the share of the business in terms of the sales, no, that they have that they get rather. And when we say the word break-even point, it is the point where a business neither makes a profit nor a loss. So, break-even point is actually a tool in management wherein you are trying to identify or trying to compute how much should be how much is the break-even point so that you can target above the break-even point. Kasi once na above siya sa break-even point, it means gain or income, no? Pero pag yan ay mas mababa sa break-even point, it means loss. So later, we're going to have a sample computation of that. So let's have another term, which is, of course, the variable cost and the fixed cost. Wherein if we're going to add the two, that will be the sales, okay? So what is a variable cost? From the keyword variable, no, these are costs that vary. It means it changes, no? Variable costs increase at a constant rate relative to the labor, to the capital. Okay, it includes raw materials, packaging, and labor directly involved in a company's manufacturing processes. So, pag variable cost, ito yung parang mga direct cost na related sa paggawa or pagbili ng product. Okay? So, pag tumataas yung dami, no, pag nag-i-increase yung dami ng product, syempre, mag-i-increase din yung variable cost. On the other hand, the fixed cost remain the same or it is constant from the keyword fixed, no? Hindi siya nagbabago. Or kung magbabago man siya, it takes years, no? Like for example, the rent, the salaries, the monthly salaries, particularly the manager, no, that they are being paid fixed, the property taxes, the insurance. So these are considered the fixed costs. So there's a formula for getting the break-even point. So if we let X represent the number of units, no, ang X daw represent the number of units, no, to break even, we can use the following formula adapted from the previous formula, wherein uh, price times the number of units, no, is equals to the variable cost times the number of units plus the fixed cost. So P is the unit, B is the variable cost per unit, X is the number of units, and FC is the fixed cost. So to solve for X, no, we have the price per unit, no, minus by the variable cost per unit, no, is equals to the fixed cost. So later magkakaroon naman tayo ng basic example for us to illustrate. Of course, no, what we did is we try to uh, of course, no, multiply the X from the price minus the variable cost, that is equals to the fixed cost. Okay, so therefore, no, X is equals to fixed cost divided by the price minus the variable cost. So, example, your unit price is 50 pesos while your variable cost per unit is 20 pesos. So, your total fixed cost is 10,000 pesos. So, the question is, what is your X or the break-even quantity? So, just like what we have illustrated a while ago, the formula is, of course, no, the fixed cost, which is 10,000, you're going to divide that to the price, no, per unit, which is the 50 pesos, and you're going to deduct the variable cost per unit. So to get the break-even quantity, okay, that is 333, no, 0.33. So let's proceed to the next part of our discussion, which is another term, which is the principal. No, principal is not the, the position, but in the finance, no, it is the amount borrowed. Okay, so kung magkano yung inutang mo, let's say 10,000, that is the principal. So rate or the interest rate is the cost of using money expressed as percentage of the principal for a given period of time, which is usually per month and year. So yung rate or interest rate, ito yung kailangan mong bayaran aside from the principal. Syempre, hindi naman sila magpapautang, yung mga financial institution, if they will not be getting an interest, no, from that. Kasi yun yung nagiging source of income nila. Then, of course, we have the time, which is the term period of the loan. Okay? Could be 1 year, months, or more than a year. And interest expense is the amount of money charged for the use of borrowed money, point of view of the borrower. Of course, dun sa point of view ng borrower, gumagastos siya ng pera pambayad sa interest expense. So ngayon, doon naman sa point of view of the creditor, ang tawag naman doon is interest income. So yung binabayad ng borrower na interest, that is considered interest income. So this is the simple interest formula. Of course, that is interest. P stands for the principal. The rate is the percent, no, charged to the money or by the bank, and the time is the number of periods which will be borrowed, lent or invested. So let's get started. So we have also the maturity value, which is F is equals to P plus I, no? Wherein F, no, is equals to P plus PRT, and F is equals to P times 1 plus RT. So for example, no, Tessa borrowed 2,000 at 12% interest for 2 years. You have to find the interest. So here, no, as you can see, if you want to get the interest, you're going to multiply first the principal times the 12% and times 2 kasi 2 years, no? So for that, no, we will be getting the 480 pesos. While the maturity value is you're going to what? You're going to add the principal plus the interest. So we already get the interest. So all we need to do is to add the principal. So ito yon 2,000 plus 480. So the next one is the what we call actual time and approximate time. So when we talk about approximate time, we assumes that each of the 12 months in a year has 30 days, or that is 360 days a year. On the other hand, actual time counts the exact number of days, which is normally, if we don't have leap year, that is 365. So let's try. So find the actual time and approximate time between April 22 and August 25. So for the actual time, as you can see, what we did is April 30 has 30 days. So we deduct 22 days. So that is 8, okay? Plus the 31 days in May. June has 30 days. Of course, this is a typographical error. This is 31 and 25, no? So if we're going to add all of this, no, that will be 125 days. On the other hand, this is how we compute the approximate time. Of course, you are going to check the month. Of course, 8 is the 8 months, no, in the year, while the April is 4. So you're going to deduct that 8 minus 4. So that is 4 months. Okay, on the other hand, we're going to deduct the days. The days is 25 and 22. So here, that would be 25 minus 22. That is 3 days. So since we mentioned a while ago that we will assume 30 days in a month, so that will be 4 times 30 days. That is 120 days plus this days, no, which is 3. So the approximate time is 120 days. So now we will proceed on the ordinary interest and exact interest. So when we say the word ordinary interest, it is taken from the 360 days. Okay, while the exact interest is taken as 365 days. So the formula for ordinary days is P times the rate, no, times the days, no, of the time, no, or the days that the financial institution has given to the borrower and the 360 days. On the other hand, the exact interest is P times the rate times the number of days, and it will be divided into 365. So to further illustrate, okay, so to get the example, okay, we have here a given problem which is compute for ordinary interest and exact interest on 1,000 pesos at 8% for 90 days. So how are we going to do that, no? So this is the, of course, no, the given formula for each. So given the numbers, that is 1,000 times 0.08, which is nandito nang galing yun, and 0.25 kasi nga 90 divided by 360. Okay, kasi 360 days. Okay? On the other hand, 1,000 times 0.08 times 0.2466. Kasi dito nanggaling yun, which is 90 divided by 365. So, to compute that, no, to have the answer, we have 20 pesos for the ordinary, and for the exact interest, we have 19.73. Let's have another example here, which is compute for ordinary interest and exact interest on 2,000 at 1% per month for 60 days. So this is not really complicated, but a little bit complex. But this is how we do it. So 2,000 times 1%. So dito nanggaling yun. Times 12 months. Kasi nga 1,000 per month. Okay? So, syempre, no? It assumes na 12 months. Syempre, kasi 12, you have 12 months in a year. Times 60 days. Dito nanggaling yun. And dahil nga ito ay exact interest, ordinary interest rather, that is 360. So, another one is we have this one, 2,000 times 1% times 12 times 60 days times 365. So, dito lang naman sila nagkaiba. So, if we're going to do that, no, 2,000 times typographical error yan, it should be 0.12 lang times 0.1667. On the other hand, we have 2,000 times 0.12 times 0.16438. So what will we get? We have here 40 pesos, while this one, that is 39.45 pesos for the exact interest.